Good afternoon. I'm sitting in the art studio of Belfast artist Beverley Healy. Beverley, good to see you again after all these years. How did you begin your art journey?
Well, like probably lots of people that go into art, I loved drawing and painting just from a very young age.
So we're talking about 5?
Yeah, and I always loved to draw from observation. I always found that relatively simple to do, you know, drawing from observation, getting things to look accurate, if you like.
Right.
So I would, and I loved faces, so I would have drawn faces, I would have drawn pop stars from my friends,
right,
you know, like that they take home and stuff. And when I was 16, I was in quite an academic school, and you know, I did quite well in that whole field, but I really wanted to do art, and my dad found this sort of BTEC course in art and design, so I went and did that. I was so keen to get to art college to do my degree early that I was able to skip the foundation year because I did the BTEC,
right,
and I did my A levels in the evenings.
Yes,
so I did it like that. So so then I went and did a fine art degree in Coventry.
Fine art degree in Coventry.
Yeah.
So you're not an Irish girl.
No, I'm not. No.
So
no.
how did you arrive over in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, well, I did a fine art degree. Then I did a sort of postgrad in history of art in Birmingham, actually, and then I had some art work in Coventry. But I always had this. Don't ask me exactly why, but I always had this. I became a Christian when I was in Coventry, actually, just before I came to Coventry, and that changed my thinking in lots of different things. And I had a sort of a yearning to go to Northern Ireland, Belfast, for a while.
Right.
And
I'm sure lots of people have yearnings to come to Northern Ireland.
And it was maybe they do, maybe they don't. And it was a funny time to have that because it was before the sort of troubles was, changed. And so I did say to my parents and stuff like this, but
I'm sure they were delighted.
They were a bit concerned, but you know, but that's right. But I applied for something and didn't get that, and then I applied for something else, which was to work for a year with Youth for Christ Northern Ireland, and so I did that, and I worked in Ballybean for a year.
Yes, that must have been an eye opener.
Yes,
okay.
And it was a very interesting year.
I'm sure it was.
At the end of that year, all the peace stuff started, you know, so everyone was making jokes when I come home. It's like, oh, right, you did well over there, it had nothing to do with me. But, you know, so, I then just came back after that, you know, literally on a year-by-year basis, and I've been here now like 22, 23 years.
I'm trying to get ready for everything like that. But it's
obviously something very compelling, you see, you can't leave once you're here. So that's what happened.
So all this while, whenever you were involved in Christian work, you were still painting?
I have to say, when I was actually involved with the Christian work, it took a bit of a back burner. I was introducing art things to kids and doing things creatively.
Yes.
And I did, after the sort of the full year of doing that Youth for Christ year, I did start going back into painting a bit more. I work with like hostels, asylum community and things like that, but I also started painting on a freelance basis and ended up doing more work in hospitals and schools, which is what I had done before I'd come to Northern Ireland. I'd done sort of murals in schools and done some murals in sort of X-ray departments and things like that.
Right, okay. Right, how would you describe your style?
My style? I have sort of, I suppose at the moment, two sort of painting styles, if you like. One is following that very realistic trait that I was telling you about.
Like your portrait here?
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's it. And, and I have different examples. I have a couple of ones there. You know,
I thought that was actually a photograph.
Well, no, it's a print of an egg tempera painting.
Oh, wow.
This one actually won American Arts Awards. Can't remember the year. It might have been 2016.
Right.
And it's actually a portrait of my daughter's, my friend's daughter, not my daughter's friend, my friend's daughter, so that won that, which was lovely, and this one won an award in Royal Birmingham Society of Arts.
Well, that has to be your daughter.
That one is my daughter, yeah.
Aged about what, 12 there?
Yeah, probably, yes, 11 or 12. Yeah.
Right, so that's one part of your style. So what's the other part?
Yeah, the other part is which actually I began to do in between, you know, the original portrait stuff and then these, which I've got back into recently. But it's more like, there was a wee example of it here. There's a few things around the studio here, but it was quite sort of imaginative work. I find it, as I've mentioned before, relatively easy to draw from life, you know, observationally. Although I've sort of learned to sort of interpret that in different ways as I've gone along, you know, and I hope I've got better at it, you know, and getting the colours and the light and everything like that. So you're getting a bit more out of the painting and out of the portrait. But from imagination, I didn't know where to begin. And I just had a period in my life where there was different things going on, and I was working in the hospital with an organisation called Arts Care, who I worked with for quite a long time, doing art projects and things in hospitals. And I sat and I saw this programme about an illustrator who just sort of threw everything down and just went for it and just saw what came out, and if she didn't like it, she threw it away. And I would have had a more precious attitude, I think, to my painting, very sort of detailed painting than that, a bit of a perfectionist perhaps. So I just adopted this attitude, and I thought, right, I'm just gonna, I mean, it's mixed with like a sort of faith thing. I was just gonna pray and read, pray, put music on and see what came out. So I started to do that, and I was just splashing paint all over the place and pulling things off and, you know, sticking things on and seeing what happened, then going over it with chalk pastels, Conte pastels, you know, sort of pigment pastels. And then I started to develop this particular style. And
to us again, the front cover.
Well, that's one.
Yeah. Right.
The first one I actually did was, where is it here? I think it's in the first. It was this one here, which was sold. I haven't got the original of this anymore, but
that would remind me of a screen print.
Would it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Maybe
some of the no, I see what you mean. Some of the background bits, yeah. If you had different stencils, it might be like that, and then you could put. Yes, yeah, I can see what you mean. It is actually, you know, as I say, mixed media paint with chalk pastels and stuff on it.
Right.
But this one, it's called Winter Child, and it's really to do with how it's sort of all wintry, sort of icy. That's sort of what feels like what came to mind, but also to do with like how we would see things at Christmas time. And it was like sort of a sense of Mary pondering what had just happened to her, the annunciation that she would give birth to a king, and then the birth of the king.
Right.
And so that's sort of what that was around, you know.
Beverley, the reason we're here is to highlight and put a spotlight on your book. Yeah. Turn it around to us again, right? It's called Abraham's Stars. It's holding on to God's promises. So where did the book come from? Well,
it came from when I first started doing this style of painting. I was in this small fellowship in West Belfast.
Right.
And it would have been a sort of thing where everybody would have brought something along, perhaps like they say, like, you know, bring in a song or a psalm or a word or something like that. They'd be very open to that because it was quite a small group.
Right.
And so I started doing these pictures, and I sort of recognised that they were sort of speaking to other people as well. So when I felt was the right sort of time, I would bring them into the fellowship, and quite often I would find that, you know, it would either tie in with what somebody else, like the person who was doing the main talk, was saying, or it would speak to somebody directly, you know. So I would bring the picture and say, this is what I believe this picture means, and this is what it's about, you know. So there were different things like that, you know. So that's where it sort of began, I suppose, which would have been around 20 years ago.
20 years.
Yeah, that I started doing this kind of work. And
yes.
I suppose at that stage, that's how I saw it, you know. I didn't really get it together for exhibiting it till a number of years later. And then, even then, I suppose it would be about 10 years ago that I wrote the book. And I wrote it and sent it to different publishers. Didn't really hear anything back, and then just took it up again recently. I've actually published it last year.
So how many illustrations have you got, or paintings?
I think there's 18 paintings in it, but sometimes there's little details, so I think it's about 20, 22, something like that altogether. And basically I would see the book, it's like a personal story for me, a personal faith story, and it was to do with a particular promise God gave me, but also to do with other promises that maybe haven't been fulfilled yet. but it was to do with the emotions of going through that, like holding on to God's promises where everything else around you looks like they're not maybe going to happen. In the same way that, I'm not equating myself with Abraham, but in the same way that Abraham did, he was given a promise, and at quite a late age, that his descendants would outnumber the stars, and yet he hadn't got even an heir, he hadn't got a son, or a child at all. And and Abraham and Sarah didn't then have a son for a long time after that, even when he was given that promise. So he had to stand in the midst of that, against what looked like was real. And then I think he was, 100 or something like that. And Sarah was in her 90s when they eventually did have their first son. So the book is around that sort of theme.
So really. I'm trying to get my head around this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and you can correct me whether I'm right or wrong, this is quite a unique type of book. It's I would sort of describe it as an inspirational Christian art book.
Yes, yes.
To encourage and inspire other people along the journey of faith.
Yes, that's a very good good summation.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And I'm saying that I have, I've read an awful lot of Christian books and other books.
Yeah.
I haven't really quite come across one like this.
No.
Because you have married your personal journey, the words, but you've married that with pictures.
Yes.
I don't honestly think I have come across anybody else who has attempted to do that.
Well, that's interesting, because it may even be why when I sent it originally to those other publishers, because I had 2 really lovely letters back saying we really love this, and they kept it for 6 months each, saying we'd like to publish this. In the end, they said we just don't know where to put it.
Where to put it.
So they didn't publish it.
Publishers like to put books in pigeonholes.
That's right, yeah.
So how do you categorise your book?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit in with the usual genres.
Yeah, that's right.
No. And this is the front cover of the book, obviously. I'm just going to leaf through it. Let Ben film that. Very colourful.
Yeah, there's a lot of colour. I do like colour. Yeah, but some go together and some stand individually. So
yes.
Yeah. Mm.
And is there a further book in your head, or?
Well, I've had different ideas for different ones, but there's nothing particularly underway at the moment. No, not particularly.
So having, produced this first book, you're just taking a wee bit of a break and concentrating on your.
I'm doing a lot of the portraiture at the moment.
So your time is really taken up painting pictures of people you know, and children, etc., that are friends and relatives.
Well, part of my time is I also do art workshops in healthcare environments or schools or things like that.
As therapy.
It's as therapy, yes. It is. It's or as activity, really. It depends what the project is, sort of like community arts or art as therapy. It's not. I'm not an art therapist, but yes, it is. It is therapeutic.
Yes, yes. So if someone wanted, their child, the past their GCSEs or whatever, and they would like a portrait done by you of them, then they just ring you up and
I have done commissions. Yeah, right. I did one recently, a drawn commission for a lady that wanted a portrait done for a surprise gift for her husband of her daughter. It was a portrait of her daughter, right. It was lovely. It was a lovely one to do.
And you are also exhibiting in various local galleries at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I have some work submitted to a local gallery called the Hallows Gallery, which is on the Ulmer Road.
Right.
That's a portraiture, and I have a portrait that was selected for the Royal Ulster Academy. exhibition. So I've had a few accepted there in the last 6-7 years. So that's lovely. And that starts sometime at the end of October, I think. Goes on to January, but I'm still selling the books. I'm still sort of promoting the books in different ways,
And go over again for us, because I can get very, very forgetful. Where can I purchase this book, or someone?
Well, you can purchase it from the bookshop. It's in the Bookwell in the Belmont Road.
Bookwell, Belmont Road.
Or online via my website, which is beverleyhealy.artweb.com. So
yes.
Either of those.
Right, and what's the price?
Or lulu.com. Actually, it's £15 from the Bookwell.
Yes.
It's £12 plus $2.99 P&P from my site, so that's still £15 really.
Right.
If you know me personally, I'm getting it for £12. But otherwise, you can also get from Lulu. You can get it for $15, including P&P. Lulu.com. Or they will do an ebook, which is £5.
Right.
So you can, if you like things electronic, you can have an ebook.
And all the while that we have been chittering away here, there's been a wee dog, a big dog. What do you want to call him?
Charlie. Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Get Charlie in. Charlie, where are you? Come on. And this is Charlie.
He doesn't usually come in here and be like, what's going on?
This is Charlie.
Hello,
And
Charlie.
Charlie is how old?
Probably about 10 or 11, we don't know, because he was a rescue dog.
And Charlie was a rescue dog. And I have videoed rescue dogs before, and poor Charlie, he was looking through the glass window there and saying, "Why have you locked me out?" Yes!
And he gets on very well with our rabbit, even though he's mostly greyhound. So
which is bizarre. Lovely. Listen, thank you very much, Beverley.